This is the second blockbuster in the last few months that the Mariners and the Reds have made. If you don't remember, or maybe you're just new to the game of baseball, a few months ago, the Reds traded away some of their more popular players, Jesse Winker and Eugenio Suarez, to the Mariners in exchange for a few different pieces. So the Seattle Mariners are very quickly becoming the Cincinnati Mariners because they're picking up the scraps of a rebuilding team. Now, we are going to recap this full trade in just a moment, and also stick around until the end because we do have to talk about Aaron Judge versus Ohtani versus Alvarez, because it could be the greatest MVP race ever. So I was out at dinner last night and I have a flight to catch in just a second, so I am stressing to get this video out. It happened at the worst time possible, but Luis Castillo is going to the Mariners in exchange for these four separate players. We have Levi Stoudt, the almost 25-year-old who isn't as fine-tuned as the Mariners had hoped, so that's probably why they're going to include him in the deal. Cincy, though, is very good with projects. They are extremely good and efficient at identifying pitching talent and turning them into relatively good big league players. So Stoudt, his strikeouts dropped this year, while at the same time his hits per nine and home runs per nine went up. So that is a deadly combination, and not in a good way. But the Reds, they like their chances of using Levi's stuff and turning him into a Tyler Mahle 2.0 or something like that. Andrew Moore is another pitching prospect that the Reds picked up. He's a 25-year-old flamethrower, and truthfully, he might be the most underrated player in this trade. Now, I just want to mention this, take it with a grain of salt. It's A-ball, but he throws 98 to 99 with an insane 16.1, did my voice just crack? A 16.1 strikeouts per nine with 0 home runs in 32 innings. So he is going to be an absolute workhorse if the Reds can fine-tune the walks. Now, he does have a career low in walks per nine, but he's been prone to that in the past. So hopefully Andrew Moore can turn into a Luis Castillo 2.0. He does have the stuff. He's 25 years old, so he's not the youngest prospect, but he is someone that you will take on as a project if you're the Reds. Now, this next player might be the best player in this trade, which is crazy because Noelvi Marte was also traded to the Reds, and he is a consensus top 20 prospect. Edwin Arroyo is an 18-year-old switch-hitting middle infielder who has been a machine in the minors this year. Now, albeit it wasn't single A ball just like Andrew Moore, but these stats, whether it's triple A or single A, they are eye-catching. He's hitting .318 with 19 doubles, 7 triples, 13 home runs, 21 stolen bases. Now, he does have shakier defense than Noelvi Marte, who we'll talk about in just a moment, but those stats are insane. Again, .320 with a bunch of extra base hits, and he can steal you a bag or two. This kid has a chance to be the next J-Ram if everything goes according to plan, but a faster version of J-Ram. So expect Edwin Arroyo to be a centerpiece of the Reds' middle infield paired with Jonathan India going forward. Now, I do expect the Reds to move on from Brandon Drury, so that frees up a spot, not at shortstop, but third base, and I believe that Noelvi Marte will be a third baseman with Edwin Arroyo as the shortstop, and you have Jonathan India as the second baseman. That is a very good infield if we're talking about the future of the Reds. Noelvi Marte is a 20-year-old infielder who, again, has been a consensus top 20 prospect for almost 2 years now. In 85 games in A-ball, he's been good, just not as good as Edwin Arroyo. That's kind of why we were shocked that Edwin was included in the same trade. Noelvi has 15 home runs, 13 stolen bases, and a .363 on base percentage. He is sick with the glove as well. So that is what a team is requiring for the services of a top flight ace, which makes me think if the Angels are actually considering trading Shohei Ohtani, you're getting an above average hitter and an ace. I mean, how much you'd have to give up every single top 10 prospect plus a few other players. So Luis Castillo is going to the Mariners. They would have had to part ways with Anthony Volpe because he is kind of the Marte comp. It might have been worth it though because Luis Castillo is sick. He is a 2-time All-Star with the best changeup in baseball, at least in my opinion. This year, he has a 2.86 ERA and a 3.2 FIP. If you don't know what FIP is, it basically shows how good a pitcher is at striking hitters out while not allowing walks or home runs. So it's basically how good is a pitcher without his defense. Again, it takes the defense out of the equation. So now he's going to a pitcher-friendly park with sick defense. So his ERA is probably going to drop, and the FIP is only going to get better and better because, again, home runs that would have been home runs in Cincinnati because that Great American Ballpark is a pinball machine. He's now going to have a better chance at being more efficient and better than he was when he was an all-star ace for the Reds. So I'm not saying the Mariners are going to be World Series favorites, but when you have a rotation of Luis Castillo, Robbie Ray, who won the Cy Young in 2021, he's regressed, but he's been better lately. Logan Gilbert is a stud. That is a solid 1-2-3 punch, and they are fit for the playoffs. The Mariners are 5-5 in their last 10 games, and they got smoked, like absolutely torched and spanked by the Astros, and midway through this game, Jerry Dipoto, the GM of the Mariners, pretty much said, "I've had enough." Pretty much what Brian Cashman said after they got beat a few days ago. After the game ended, they went and traded for Andrew Benintendi. They couldn't even wait until after the game. Dipoto said, "Go get Luis Castillo. We have to remind these guys that we are in playoff contention and we are getting destroyed by the Astros." That cannot happen, so Seattle is really going for it, and I have to applaud them for keeping it together and getting better and better as the season progresses. They are not fading away. Maybe they call up Jared Kelenic, and he's actually the guy that we expect him to be. So the Mariners, they get Luis Castillo, a top-flight starter, the best starting pitcher on the market. He is their new ace ahead of Robbie Ray, and they have Kyle Lewis, who's back and healthy. The Mariners can be really, really good for the rest of the season, but they did have to give up Noelvi Marte, who I really like, Edwin Arroyo, everyone seems to like. I think the Mariners actually liked him more than Marte going into this second half of the season because of how good Arroyo was. Andrew Moore and Levi Stoudt, that is a big boy trade, and the Mariners are getting Luis Castillo, who is a big boy pitcher. Now, real quick, I do have a flight to catch, but I want to go ahead and recap a couple different games from yesterday. We have Aaron Judge, who versus Kansas City pretty much won the game single-handedly. Not only did he rob a home run from MJ Melendez defensively, but he had 2 home runs. So if you do the math, I think he's at 41 or 42 home runs. He has a 193 OPS plus. Aaron Judge is having one of the best offensive seasons since the steroid era. But the thing is, he doesn't need steroids because he's 6'7", 280. He's an absolute monster. Alvarez, though, talking about Yordan, he decided to remind folks who he is as well. He hits his 30th home run of the season, so he has an insane 210 OPS plus, and if he finishes off the season with a 200 plus OPS plus, that would be one of the best seasons ever, not only by a left-handed hitter, but in the history of Major League Baseball. So we have Aaron Judge, who is on pace to hit 60 plus home runs. He's on a first place team. Yordan Alvarez is on pace to have one of the more efficient and greatest offensive seasons ever, talking about batting average, home run, on-base percentage, slugging, OPS plus, everything like that. He's also on a first-place team. And then we have Shohei Ohtani, who is a guy that can throw 101. He can hit a ball 480 feet, and he can steal you 25 bags. He has been more of an ace this year as opposed to the MVP hitter, so he's reversed his 2021 season. He's been a better pitcher than hitter. So at this point, we're getting a completely different Ohtani. Who do you go with? Do you go with Judge, who is my pick right now? Do you go with Alvarez, who I think is in third? Or do you go with Shohei Ohtani? I mean, if I'm the Angels, I'm seeing what the Mariners just got for Luis Castillo, and I'm actually going to trade Shohei Ohtani, send him to a playoff contender. Please do him a service. And not only are you doing Shohei Ohtani a service, but the game of baseball in general. We need to see Shohei in the playoffs. That would do wonders for the game of baseball. You know how many people would watch because he's on a playoff team playing in the postseason? I mean, that would be so, so great. A dream come true for a baseball fan and a person who really wants the game of baseball to succeed going into the future, and attendance is down, so I don't like that. Get Shohei on a good team. And to end today's video, we're going to go ahead and roll this day in MLB history, Adrian Beltre. I can't believe that he got this far. 3,000 hits. I completely forgot about that. But this day in MLB history, that happened, and afterwards, we'll show the web gems. I got a flight to catch.
The 3-0. Bouncer, base hit into left field. Around second, heading to third, Mazzara. Beltre goes for 2, and it's a stand-up double. And there it is, number 3,000 for Adrian Beltre.
Liner going to be a foul ball and grabbed down there back at third by Yandy Diaz.
So this ball going to be foul. He turns it into an out.
Second and third, 2 outs. The 0-1 slowly hit, charging Arenado, bare hand throw. Oh, he got him! What a play! Nolan Arenado. The stretch by Goldie on the other end.
Rosario punches it the other way. It backs up David. Still backing up. And he's got it to the warning track.
David holds his ground and then has to turn around and sprint to that warning track to make the over-the-shoulder catch. Nicely done.
Scope out to left. Gurriel on the track, backing up in front of the wall. He leaps, and he's got it. Gurriel Jr. dashing the Tigers.
So you're going to say he was on that club. Well, not necessarily a softball play, but a great play in center field by J.J. Bleday. In his first game in the ballpark, some slick defense behind Sandy Alcantara.
A bat waggle. Looks cool doing it.
Look at that one, hit right off the end of the bat. Kemp hustling in, and he goes into a slide, and he makes the catch.
1-2 from Stroman. Shot the other way from Yastrzemski, down for a base hit. And the Giants look to strike first, but the strike from left field, Ian Happ.